There is a flower that only grows in the Arctic, a small white bloom called Dryas octopetala. It thrives in tundra, in places where nothing else survives. Scientists know it because its pollen appears in the sediment record like a timestamp. Wherever you find it in European soil, you're looking at a world that had turned to ice. 12,900 years ago, this flower began appearing across Europe, in places that had been forests. The pollen record does not lie. The forests became Arctic wastelands, and scientists can read the exact year it happened. This is the story of the Younger Dryas, the most catastrophic climate event in human memory, and it ends at the exact date a Greek philosopher said a civilization was destroyed. Welcome to Beyond the Pillars. Here, we do not chase myths, we chase data. The engine that runs the planet's climate is called the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, the AMOC. Think of it as a heat pump. Warm water flows north along the Atlantic surface. At the Arctic, it cools, becomes denser, and sinks. Then it flows south along the ocean floor. This circulation is what keeps Europe temperate. London sits at the same latitude as Labrador. Without the AMOC, London freezes. But where does the heat go if the pump breaks? At approximately 12,900 years ago, this pump stopped. A glacial lake called Lake Agassiz, holding more water than all the modern Great Lakes combined, suddenly rerouted its drainage. Instead of flowing south through the Mississippi, a massive pulse of cold freshwater surged into the North Atlantic. The salt water diluted, the circulation stalled, and the northern hemisphere froze. Greenland cooled by up to 14 degrees, Europe dropped 2 to 6 degrees, glaciers re-advanced, forests reversed to tundra, growing seasons collapsed, ice cores show the onset happened within decades, possibly within years. But here's what makes this event extraordinary. While Greenland froze by 14 degrees, Antarctica warmed. Southern hemisphere sea surface temperatures rose by 0.3 to 1.9 degrees. The net global temperature barely changed, only about 0.6 degrees. This was not a new ice age, this was the planet's heat engine breaking down. All the cold flooding north, all the warmth pooling south. Scientists call it the Bipolar Seesaw. In North America, the effects were devastating. A culture of people we call the Clovis vanished from the archaeological record. 6 species of megafauna that had survived 2 million years of ice ages died in centuries. Mammoths, mastodons, horses, saber-toothed cats, gone. Something happened 12,900 years ago that gradual climate change cannot easily explain. A growing body of research suggests the AMOC shutdown may not have been the only event. The Younger Dryas boundary impact hypothesis proposes that a comet or swarm of fragments detonated in the atmosphere across multiple points simultaneously. The evidence? A platinum anomaly in Greenland ice cores and sites across 4 continents. Nanodiamonds of a type formed only under extreme impact pressures, magnetic microspherules consistent with melted rock, shocked quartz discovered in 2024 in South Carolina, Maryland, and New Jersey. The counter-evidence is equally serious. A comprehensive refutation published in Earth Science Reviews in December 2023 stated no evidence for a comet or asteroid impact 12,900 years ago. Critics cite unreproducible results and markers attributable to volcanic processes. Something extraordinary happened. Scientists agree on the effects. They disagree on the trigger. Both explanations have peer-reviewed papers behind them. Neither is fully settled. The Younger Dryas lasted 1,200 years ago, and its effects were not limited to Europe. The same AMOC that warms Europe also drives the West African monsoon. When the AMOC stalled, the monsoon shifted south. West Africa dried. Lake sediment records from Lake Bosumtwi in Ghana showed dramatically reduced rainfall. Dust accumulation in marine cores off the Senegal coast spiked, confirming intense drought. The peer-reviewed record uses a precise word for what happened to the Eastern Sahara: hyper-arid. We know what was lost because the desert preserved the evidence. Rock paintings across the Central Sahara depict hippos, crocodiles, and humans swimming in deep rivers. Satellite imagery reveals ghost channels of ancient river systems hundreds of kilometers long, now buried beneath sand. Lake Megachad, at its peak, covered an area larger than the Caspian Sea. Pollen cores from the region confirmed dense grassland and gallery forests extending to within kilometers of the Rashat structure. This was not marginal land. This was a fertile interior with the hydrology to sustain a large population. And it was vanishing. For 1,200 years, the rivers and lakes that sustained the Green Sahara were failing. Any civilization in the lush interior of what is now the desert was not destroyed in a single moment. It was already dying. Then came the end. 9,600 BC. The AMOC restarted. Greenland warmed by 10 degrees in a single decade. Some reconstructions say 1 to 3 years. The ice sheets destabilized and the oceans surged. Scientists call it Meltwater Pulse 1b. The most recent estimates for Barbados coral and Great Barrier Reef data constrain the rise to approximately 8 to 10 meters over a few centuries, at rates of 23 to 30 millimeters per year. Even at that revised scale, the consequences were catastrophic. Entire coastlines drowned, estuaries became seas, river valleys were permanently inundated. The timing is exact. Meltwater Pulse 1b occurred at approximately 11,500 to 11,200 years ago. That translates to roughly 9,600 to 9,300 BC. In the previous episode, we examined where Plato's physical description of Atlantis points. In this episode, we've established when. Plato said Atlantis was destroyed 9,000 years before Solon. Solon visited Egypt around 600 BC. That places the destruction at 9,600 BC, the exact moment the Younger Dryas ended, the exact moment when the ice sheets collapsed, the exact moment sea levels lurched upward without warning. Plato did not invent that date. He preserved it. Now consider the full picture. For 1,200 years, the West African monsoon had been failing. Rivers shrank, lakes retreated. The civilization at the Rashat structure, if it existed, was contracting toward Wells and Wadis. And then, in a geological instant, the AMOC restarted. Climate whiplash, sea level surge, the Sahara's water system permanently reorganized. It died the way all great things die. Slowly, then suddenly. And there was one more piece of this story. In southeastern Turkey, at a site called Gobekli Tepe, something impossible was built at the exact moment the Younger Dryas ended. T-shaped megalithic pillars, the largest weighing 50 tons, carved with intricate animal reliefs and arranged in massive circular enclosures. Thousands of years older than Stonehenge, thousands of years older than the pyramids, built by people who had not yet invented agriculture. The lead archaeologist, Klaus Schmidt, spent 25 years excavating this site. He estimated hundreds of workers, coordinated across communities up to 200 kilometers away, sustained by organized communal feasts. This was not a tribe. This was a supply chain, civilization-level organization, before farming, before the wheel. And then, around 8,000 BC, the builders buried it. Carefully, deliberately, they filled the enclosures themselves. Not destruction, preservation. Why would you bury the greatest thing you had ever built? Gobekli Tepe says the conventional narrative is wrong. Complexity did not follow agriculture. Sophisticated organization existed before the first wheat was planted, and it appeared at the exact moment the most catastrophic climate event in human memory ended. In our next episode, we return to Plato's original text, because when you read what he actually wrote word by word in the original Greek, the story is nothing like what you've been told. Here at Beyond the Pillars, our mission is to move beyond speculation. Our ultimate goal is to fund AtlantisX, buying a research boat to search the world for the true remains of Atlantis. Building this community is the first step. If you want to be part of this mission, subscribe to the channel and help us build the resources to find the truth. We're just getting started.